morning. Welcome to a garden tour this morning. Kathy and I are here to represent the Baraboo Buds. That's the Baraboo Public Library's Virtual Gardening Club. We're trying to see a lot of the interesting gardens around Baraboo this summer. Since you won't be able to come in person with us, we decided to put it online. So today we're going to see Kathy's garden.
Welcome to my garden.
Yeah, it looks so inviting with the little path going back. And what do you have here? A wildlife habitat?
Right. This is right now we're in shade, but this is my sun garden.
Okay.
Actually, it gets a lot of sun during the day, and I have been certified as a wildlife habitat through the National Wildlife Federation, which is something every gardener can apply for.
So you don't have to live in the country to have a wildlife habitat?
No, you can have one right here in the city. All you have to do is have 4 basic requirements.
Okay.
Food, so plenty of natural plants for our bees and other insects, and bird food. Water sources, I have 4 bird baths.
All right.
It's preferable to have in-ground things, but bird baths are enough.
Okay.
Cover to protect the birds from predators, and places to raise young. So bird houses, plenty of trees, and even these taller bushes are places where they can build their nests. So you go online to the National Wildlife Federation. There's a survey that you have to fill out and apply and send in your money, and then you can get a sign like this and be a certified wildlife habitat. One of the things that you have to do is try to be as organic as possible, and not use chemicals, so you can expect to do a lot of weeding, but besides that, it's not too hard.
Well, it's nice to have a sign out, not just because you're so proud about it, which I'm sure you are, but it kind of starts the conversation, and other people say, well, gee, what's this all about?
Exactly, and I tell everybody it's something every home can do, really, no matter how big or small your garden is.
We can sure hear the birds singing and all the bees and the butterflies here on the coneflower, so your little habitat certainly has been effective.
And you know, we try to do a lot of local flora, so that you know, we are sustainable right here in Wisconsin. Excuse me, I see a Japanese beetle. Don't want him on my flower.
He's not going to be sustained.
The Japanese beetles, which are a problem in so many gardens, do not have any predators. And that because they're invasive,
Right.
And that's one of the reasons that they are a problem in our gardens. They're beautiful, but you don't want them on your flowers.
Exactly.
So, and most of the time, the best way to get rid of them is just like I did, knock them off with your hands. Okay, you want to see the rest of the
Yeah, I'm very excited. Well, there's this lovely little path that draws us back, going through the coneflowers. Where are we headed, Kathy?
We're headed back to the shade garden.
All right. So here we are in your shade garden. Oh, some gorgeous hostas, and there's a lot of other little things in here that go along with your habitat designation.
Right. I have about 6 different varieties of hostas, and there's a bird bath, one of 4 in my garden. It is used even though it's in the shade, and this is a bird station with the slinky to keep the squirrels off. We've had to trim this tree quite a few times because the squirrels like to jump from the tree to here, and the same thing from that bush to here. So, and although I do want a healthy garden for my squirrels too, I need to keep them away from the bird feed.
Well, we just turned the corner on your lush green colors of your large hosta bed, and then suddenly there's all this little bright color hiding in here. What kind of delicious things are you going to show us?
Well, this is my fairy garden.
Oh, look
and, I became interested in fairy gardens at the public library, Baraboo Public Library, with you giving a class on them after you displayed such beautiful ones down in the children's library section. So I think I have about 6 little fairy garden homes, and they're lots of fun to make and to keep, and they actually hold together pretty well out here, even through that rainstorm that we had the other night.
Yeah, they're protected under this tree, but still they do get some of the elements, and they are looking really pretty.
Yeah, this is some of them, it's their 2nd and 3rd year. So what I do is I bring them in the wintertime, and then before I bring them out for the spring again, I kind of do a rehab, and they're holding up pretty well.
I bet your little granddaughters really love this area.
Yeah,
over
this
here.
is hers right here that she's made, and Violet picked out the little fairies, and we made this shell house for them, put in some natural plants.
Very charming.
And you recognize these?
Oh, our Kokedama.
Our Kokedama, right. And a little fairy has found a special home in one of those, too.
Surveying the village, huh?
I put them up on stumps because I had them all low to the ground and nobody could see them.
Right, and and they are worth close-up views because it's just how the way you just transform some everyday object into something that, you have to stare at it to realize, oh, wait a minute, that's actually a glass, or
yeah,
that's a button, those sort of things. That's what makes fairy gardens so charming, I think. It is a good use of space. You add all the round shapes of the hostas, then you have the uprights of the trunk to display that bright color. It's beautiful. Kathy, your garden has surprise after surprise. This is just so lovely. It looks like stained glass. How did you do this?
Well, I call this my whimsy garden, and I've made these out of plates. Most of these plates come from St. Vinny's, and just glued them together with some good epoxy glue. You could see it's just some plates glued together.
Up all different ones. Okay.
And I like the look of the light through the glass.
Yeah,
I know
especially
some
here.
people just use regular plates, but I like glass plates.
Yeah.
And then these little glass pieces in the middle are from just the glass things like you get at the dollar store. And then I've glued on some kind of some of them have copper fittings, and then just put it on the back.
Look at this one.
And then some have
PVC
pipe, yeah. And then
No,
some.
I never would have thought of that. That is so cool.
And then some I've found work really well with just an old squarish bottle or round bottle that you can put up there. And that way it's reusing things again. And
yeah, you don't have to run to the store. And speaking of reusing, it's for a broom, handle. Well, see, that shows a clever brain when you can put all these little details together. How charming. Kathy, this is one of my favoriteest fairy houses that you made, with the 2 levels, and there's so much detail in there. You could just enter that world for a few minutes and it'd be very relaxing.
Well, thank you. This was one that I made in one of your workshops. Yep, there's a little key and all kinds of little things. I found some mirrored pieces that were just something for a craft to stick on, and I tried those out, and I really like the way they reflect the light.
Well, they really catch your eye as you go by. I mean, the colors are also very subtle and natural, but that flashing light really catches your eye.
And again, we're using a lot of just recycled materials, like that's an egg carton, and just dollar store kind of things that put it together.
And you're really not a woodworker, are you? What was the form underneath all that pretty?
Oh, this it's a wine box.
I thought that was well, maybe not. That's the second best use for a wine box, right?
Right. Welcome to the back garden, which is a habitat for wildlife, for wild children at play, and for crafting. So
you really integrated them all in one here. Let's see all these little things you've got hidden around in here. Here's one of those bird baths for the wildlife part of it, right?
Right, and this is a solar powered motor so that I can have some movement in the water.
Uh-huh.
And that attracts a lot of bees and birds.
Well, those really work well. I've always wondered how effective those are, but they really have a nice demonstration there.
And you have to be careful that if it's a windy day that all your water isn't blown. So we have a lot of flowers here that are attracting a lot of bees.
Mm-hmm. And you have the color scheme with the flowers, but here on the earth you have gorgeous mosaics that reflect the colors that you've used here in your border. There's a number of them here and they're also very beautiful, but they're all a little bit different.
Well, this stepping stone that I made is just a pattern, and it's made from dollar store glass pieces, little tiles from the Restore, and broken plates to do a lot of reusing. And
so are you making these over a cement stepper that you bought, or
right,
do you make
just a plain $1.38 stepping stone, and then I with mortar, and then grout it afterward after it's mortared down.
This one is particularly lovely. I mean, this really looks like a stained glass piece.
It is glass.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a window. I mean, it's so detailed and so lovely.
My cousin made that one for me, and actually was the one who started me off with all the ideas for this.
And then I can see, just glancing down, you have a lot of beautiful flowers, and again, your stepping stones that bring the colors. Some of the colors have faded in the garden as far as flowers being done, but you have those colors repeated here in your stepping stones.
Right, and most of these are made from broken plates.
Oh, and look at the detail, little lovebirds, and there's a bird all made out of the blue willow dishes. Very pretty.
Thank you. Yeah, each one takes about 3 days to make. 1 day for the planning of it, and then 1 day to mortar it in, and 1 day then to grout it, and then about a week to dry. Maybe we should make one sometime.
Well, maybe
for
we
the
should. I think
club.
they certainly are beautiful, and just a very important part of your whole border design here. It's great. Kathy, here's a sign that looks like when you travel around up north for the cottages and everything's mixed up and they have all these signs. And what is this all about?
Well, that's what gave me this idea, going up north. And this is places that either exist in literature or in comics or in baseball, so places that are very special to different members of my family. So we have Wrigley Field, Emerald City, Hogwarts for our granddaughter, Comiskey Park, the 100-acre wood for another granddaughter, Metropolis and Jurassic Park. So these are all, if you know my family, you could tell me which one went with which person.
Yeah, that's another element you have in your garden is your family. I mean, there's things here for the grandkids, there's things your cousin taught you, there's things that reflect your family's dreams. It's
right.
Really, it's kind of like an album of your life. It's really a garden is really you. You're in the garden, as they say.
Oh, thank you. Okay, this is really a very active garden for my grandchildren, so I was trying to make a natural playscape here.
Okay.
And they use these stumps quite a bit to play on.
They could be their own little fairies out here with their natural playground.
Exactly.
Kathy had her plate garden, and here she has their hubcaps. Is that
Yep.
what these are?
These are
and
hubcaps.
you used the same color scheme that you used for the flowers to this kind of found art project.
Yep, they're just spray painted hubcaps and then mounted, and then just some wood boards for the leaves. So just to give a little interest back here, because we had hoped to make a bocce ball court back here, so I didn't want to have a lot of plantings, but it was kind of boring.
Right.
So
there's an alley right out here, which all the city lots have them for the most part. It's a great way to distract your eye and kind of set the parameters of your garden here. Kathy, I really like how you've integrated space for your family members into this lovely garden. There's places that are very complex and delicate, but you also have areas that meet the needs for kids to get out and move around.
Right, well, they're ages 2 to 11, so we had to have different ages and toys. And this swing here is good for all the ages, plus for the grandparents to sit with the kids.
Oh, I knew you wouldn't be sitting down by yourself, so yeah.
And then we have, the kids really like to play with all these noisy things that I have hanging from the trees.
Yeah, that's really great. Here's things that you want them to touch, and then there's things that they do not touch. So that's a great balance. So Kathy has play area. She's got a fairy garden. She has a shade garden, and over here, Kathy even has a vegetable garden wedged here in the corner. Now, how did you make this happen, Kathy?
Well, this was a area of the yard that is extremely sunny and was useless for a long time because there was a great big stump here that we couldn't get machinery in to get rid of. So we chopped it down as much as we could, and it was huge. So then we just, for a long time, had this gravel here, and I was trying to do a few things with pots, and this year I put in the 2 beds, the raised beds. Right.
Oh, wow, that's convenient then.
And it's worked out very well. I got my soil actually from the Baraboo community
Transfer station?
Go
transfer station.
Yeah, and it's been really good.
So just the depth of the soil in that box are supporting all those tomatoes. So, right?
Right.
And you added
right.
some extra soil or no?
Yeah,
Potting
just a
soil
little,
or something
little
else?
bit, right. And then I also, for fertilizer, I used worm casings.
Okay, yeah, that's a good organic way to go.
Right, and seems to be doing very well. I'm having a good harvest of tomatoes. I've already picked a whole bunch of them last night, so today I'm going to get a lot more.
So to keep the weeds down under your gravel, what have you used under there? So,
well, I've used some, like this.
The landscape cloth?
Landscape cloth, right? And cardboard and newspaper.
Okay, another organic method. Yeah, great.
I have another bird bath over here, Mosaic bird bath.
And that one I think you said was made over a clay saucer?
Right, clay saucer. And over here I had to put some distance from the garage because we were getting a lot of heat off this in the afternoons, and everything I would put here would die. But these seem to like it. I did put something here to kind of reflect the light. But
yeah, I have that problem too. I mean, it's amazing how much, like you say, reflected heat. So I'm growing vines up my shed or my garage back to help with that. Then you have a shipping pallet here with the clay pots. That really looks nice too.
Yep, again, covering over some of that stump that was uneven.
Really? That was a problem, and now that was the solution. Lovely.
Yeah.
This is so cute. She used the seashells for wings for the dragonflies. Kathy, you were saying your little garden back here is in an awful lot of heat. So are you watering all day with that then?
Well, on the real hot days, twice a day, in the morning and then in the evening again. But no, most of the time we've been getting a good amount of rain in Baraboo, so it's saved me a lot of watering. And when it rains, I get my free water in my water barrel here. And this has really cut down on our water bill because it only takes very little rain actually to fill this thing up, like a half an hour, and it's filled.
So the water, is there a pump that,
this comes, it comes out over here.
All right, this is the overflow then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could hook a hose up to this.
So you have,
this is just the overflow.
oh,
so
all right.
that it doesn't.
I always wondered how that worked.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's going over and
Yeah.
watering.
And I could, if I had 2 barrels, I could attach the overflow to another barrel or make a double thing here. But for right now, we just have the one.
Okay, then you can just a couple steps away to where your garden need is.
Right. And I have a hose for backup in case I need it, but very seldom do I need to use it. This is predominantly what I use for watering.
Oh, it works out really well. another conservation measure as far as your being a wildlife habitat. That's one more way to conserve
Exactly.
water as well
Exactly.
as the garden itself.
Well, thanks for coming to visit today.
Well, I really had so much fun. Thank you for sharing with us all. We would really like other people that are interested in gardening in Baraboo to share what they have in their garden with the rest of us. Of course, we can't visit, so what was the idea that we had?
Well, yeah, you could send in some pictures,
Okay.
I think, of their gardens or some special plants that they'd like to highlight. And what was the address?
If you'd like to send photos to be shared with other Baraboo gardeners, you can email them to joan@baraboopubliclibrary.org, and she will post them online, and you can take some bow for the lovely work that you've done, and we thank you so much for sharing with us. And thank you, Kathy, for letting us come today.
Well, you're welcome. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we learned a lot of good tips. Bye.
Bye.